What a game we have this Sunday in Denver. It's the 11-2 Denver Broncos with a 10-game winning streak hosting the Green Bay Packers, who are 9-3-1. Green Bay's won 4 straight. Is this a Super Bowl preview? Kind of reminds me of that John Elway win against the Packers 28 years ago in the Super Bowl. You never know. This is going to be awesome. This preview is brought to you by Body Armor Flash IV. Flash IV delivers faster, longer-lasting hydration with over 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes and no artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners like those other drinks. So whether you're training, traveling, or just feeling the heat, work hard. Hydrate hard with Body Armor Flash IV. Grab yours today at your local 7-Eleven convenience store. This Top of Mind is brought to you by Chevrolet. Football season is in full swing. And whether you're grinding through the week or gearing up for kickoff, there's one ride that's always game ready, the Chevy Silverado. Built for the hustle, ready for the game. Silverado is America's most dependable full-size truck. Head to Chevy.com to learn more and build your own Chevy Silverado today. Okay, what a game we have this Sunday. 2 great head coaches, offensive innovators, Matt LaFleur of the 9-3-1 Green Bay Packers and Sean Payton of the 11-2 Denver Broncos. You know, when you look at Sean Payton, what a job he has done in Denver this year, finding ways to win. I mean, they had a 5-game winning streak where they won by a total of 17 points. I checked back in history. When was the last time a team won 5 straight games by 17 points? Well, it was Bill Parcells and the New York Giants in 1986. He won 5 games by 15 points. And I remember all the reporters asking Parcells, "You guys seem to win ugly." Bill Parcells couldn't give a shit. He just wanted to win. And that's what reminds me of this Denver Bronco team. Yeah, Sean Payton, he beat the Raiders on Thursday night in an ugly game. They had to block a kick in the 4th quarter. They had 33 points in the 4th quarter to somehow beat the New York Giants. Heck, against Washington 2 weeks ago, they're going to lose to the Commanders. The guy's wide open in the flat, but Nick Benito batted the ball down. The New York Jets, they have Denver in deep trouble, but they sacked Justin Fields at midfield with just seconds left. So they are finding ways to win, man. Bo Nix has 6 game-winning drives at the end of the game or overtime. Denver has done an unbelievable job. They've won 2 games on walk-off field goals. You think Sean Payton could care less? No. But Denver still has a lot of skeptics, and they still are a 2.5-point underdog at home. They've won 11 straight home games, man. They've won 10 straight football games, and they're a 2.5-point underdog to these Green Bay Packers. So I feel Denver's a little salty, and they're excited to prove to you and everybody else they are legit. And how about Matt LaFleur of the Green Bay Packers? You know, he just beat the Chicago Bears. That's his 76th win in 7 years. Only George Seifert of the 49ers has won more games. He just tied Paul Brown with 76 wins in his first 7 seasons. Paul Brown is the author of football. He passed Mike Holmgren, who had 75. I worked for Holmgren. I never thought anybody would beat 75 wins in his first 7 years. LaFleur is a hell of a coach. He's 21 wins and 4 losses in the month of December since he's been the head coach of Green Bay. So he's not a real nervous guy like I was. You know what I mean? He's an ice man. He loves pressure. The other thing I love about Green Bay is they had a lot of adversity this season, you know. They got beat by Carolina at home. I even heard some boos. Then Philadelphia on national TV pretty much held them in check. They had a 2-game losing streak, and they lost their great tight end, Tucker Kraft. But in adversity, you can go 2 ways. You can go to hell in a handbasket, oh shit, or you can rise above. And that's what LaFleur and his staff have done. They're resilient, they've kept fighting, and guess what? They don't listen to the outside noise. And that's a big reason why they're in first place in the NFC North. And that's a big reason why a lot of people think they're the best team in football. Denver Broncos have a 10-game winning streak. We don't take that lightly. They had 11 straight wins in 2012, Peyton Manning's first season with the Broncos. And they won 13 straight games with John Elway in 1998, the year they won the Super Bowl. 10 straight wins, man. That's a great accomplishment by this Bronco team. This game has a lot to offer. When you look at Denver, I think of Sean Payton and his young quarterback, Bo Nix. And they are a very good offensive team, no matter what anybody says. They're 10th in total offense. But they got to go up against Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. Hell, Green Bay's got the number 6 scoring defense. So what a matchup we have on that side of the ball. And if you flip it, it's Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. And you could say a lot about Love. He is playing as good as he's played in his entire career. They got to match up against Vance Joseph, Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, and this Denver pass rush that has 55 sacks. Hell's bells, Denver's 3rd overall in total defense. So we have 2 classic matchups. Which of these teams can handle the pressure? And I'm not just talking about the magnitude of the game. I'm talking about the pressure that these blitzes and these pass rushers are going to provide. When you look at Micah Parsons of the Green Bay Packers and you start evaluating rushers that have had over 300 rushes, Micah Parsons leads the NFL with almost a 21% pressure rate. He gets near the quarterback and bothers him a lot, and he has 12.5 sacks. Nick Bonito, number 15 of the Denver Broncos, he's got 12.5 sacks. Hell, he's 3rd in the league with a 19.6% pressure rate. So both of these guys put the heat on. And what I love about these 2 teams is they both have offensive tackles who throw shutouts, man. Garrett Bowles of the Denver Broncos, he hasn't given up a sack in 514 rushes. He shuts people out with athleticism. He's got length and recovery. He can short set you. He'll mix up his sets against you, and he can knock the shit out of you. I love Garrett Bowles. And right tackle Zach Tom of the Green Bay Packers, you got to look at a lot of tape to see him get in trouble. I got 316 attempts of pass protection, 0 sacks. So both these guys, against both these great rushers, it's worth the price of admission. I've always felt that sack differential is a big stat. You don't hear it very often, but the Denver Broncos have 55 sacks from their defense. I mean, that's almost historic. And they've only given up 17. So they have a plus 38 differential when it comes to sacks. By far and away, number 1 in football. Green Bay has 33 sacks from their defense. They've only allowed 18, so they're plus 15. Both of these teams know a lot about protecting a passer. Both of these teams have the arsenal on defense to affect the passer. That's going to be a key ingredient in winning this game. Playing in Denver has always been a challenge. The altitude does bother you. I mean, you're yelling at the official, "Hey, ref, what the hell are you?" Jiminy Christmas. It can affect you, man. It really can. So you got to use some rotations. Some players are affected by the altitude more than others. It gets cold. You never know what the weather's going to do in December. But the forecast I have is 60 degrees and sunny. Can you believe that? That never happened when I went to Denver. I froze my ass off at that place. Green Bay has won 4 straight road games. They really aren't phased in prime time and actually play as good or better on the road as they do at home. But make no mistake about it, Denver has won 11 straight games at home. That place is loud, and these Denver Bronco fans, they are really talented, man. They're loyal to their team, man. Green Bay has always struggled with Denver on the road. They're 1-7 all time in Denver. So maybe the altitude does affect Green Bay, who knows? But I remember on Monday Night Football, Mike Tirico was the announcer in 2007. It was overtime. And on the first play of overtime, Brett Favre, "Greg Jennings, Brett Favre does it again." Tirico, man, I love that guy. But that was the last time Green Bay, and the only time Green Bay has beaten Denver in Denver. The last time these 2 teams played, Week 7, 2023, it was at Denver. And Jordan Love threw an interception late in the game to backup safety P.J. Locke. The Broncos won that game 19-17. That gave Sean Payton his first ever home victory as head coach of the Denver Broncos. Teams haven't played since then. You know, both of these quarterbacks in this game, you think about having a tough act to follow. I remember when I went to Tampa Bay to coach, I had to follow Tony Dungy. That was a tough act to follow. Well, take a look at Jordan Love. He had to follow Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, man. 2 Hall of Famers that both won a Super Bowl. Pressure? Yeah, that's pressure, man. And how about Bo Nix? He walks into Denver. He's got to succeed. How about John Elway and Peyton Manning? 2 more world champion Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Both of these young guys are off to a great start in their careers. It's a credit to them. A lot of guys couldn't handle this kind of pressure and following this kind of greatness. I really love the way Jordan Love is playing. I think I've said it previous weeks. We've had Green Bay a couple times. You know, you could say Matt Stafford's going to win the MVP. A lot of people have Drake May a close second. Well, number 3 is Jordan Love. I checked that on DraftKings. He is number 3. That's how good he has played. He's playing the best ball of his career. Forget about this season. He's playing great. In this 4-game winning streak, 9 touchdowns, 1 pick. And the pick last week against Chicago, it was 3rd and 18. He made an aggressive decision, just checked the ball down to Brooks. I'm sure he's probably listening to me right now going, I know that, Gruden. But my point is he is playing great. If you like deep ball accuracy, I said earlier this week, Drake May has the most beautiful deep ball accuracy in the league. Jordan Love is second. Did you see that 45-yard bomb to Bo Melton last week? How about the 51-yarder on Thanksgiving to Christian Watson while you're eating your turkey leg? I mean, this guy's freaking on it. He sticks it in tight windows. His arm talent reminds me of Brett Favre. But what I love about this kid the most is he's almost like Aaron Rodgers now at the line of scrimmage. RCE. Recognize the defense, communicate a fix, and we'll execute at high levels. It's like last week on that first touchdown pass to Christian Watson. I mean, he sees it's an all-out blitz, so he keeps Josh Wiley in at tight end. He keeps the running back in so we can get to a 7-man protection. And he takes Jaden Reed, he hooks him over the ball at 12 yards. Here's Romeo Doubs on about a 12-yard hook, and he sends Christian Watson right down the numbers to the post. And he rung him up, man. He recognized the blitz, he communicated the fix, and he shredded him. That was big time. And then later in the game on Christian Watson's other touchdown, he sees another big time blitz coming. So he gaps the offensive line. Everybody blocks their inside gap. Here comes the back over here, and they put a man in the flat, a man on the clear, and here's Christian Watson on a quick slant. The ball's thrown perfectly. Kevin Byard was running over the top, and it's a house call. He recognized the pressure. He communicated the fix. He makes the throw, and the Packers won the game because of his at the line of scrimmage excellence. But you know, the great quarterbacks, they can play with just about anybody in the huddle. And what is amazing about this young quarterback is they lose Tucker Kraft. Josh Jacobs gets hurt. He didn't even play against Minnesota. Jaden Reed, his number 1 receiver, is hurt. Wicks plays great against Detroit. Now he's hurt. Then they lose Christian Watson late last year. He doesn't play the first half of this season. And hell's bells, their first-round draft choice, Matthew Golden, has been hurt also. But it really doesn't matter who he plays with. He's playing great. And do you know that in week 12 of the season and beyond, since he has become the starter of the Green Bay Packers in 2023, 32 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Why the hell do you think Matt LaFleur is 21-4 in December? Because his quarterback is on fire, man, late in the year. It's awesome. You know, when you watch Bo Nix, you get a mixed review from some people. But when you think about John Elway and Bo Nix, they both do have a flair for the dramatic. You remember some of the fourth quarter drives John Elway used to produce? Mind-boggling clutch plays. Well, this kid has 6 game-ending drives this year. And you talk about just the way players gravitate to quarterbacks. Peyton Manning had all this talent, but his greatest skill, I think, was getting people to really like playing with him. And that's something Bo Nix has. Both of these quarterbacks have what I call the it factor. They both lead differently, but they both get great results. Bo Nix is the top-rated quarterback in the fourth quarter in my book. If you look at all the quarterbacks when the game is tied or their team is behind, Bo Nix, he is one clutch SOB. You know what I'm saying? Statistically, it's interesting to look at him. Yards, Love has 3,026. That's 9th in the league. 67% completion. That's 9th. 7.8 yards per pass, that's 7th, and a 105.4 QB rating, that is 4th. 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, pretty awesome. When you look at Bo Nix, think about this. He has 400 passing attempts. That's as much as anybody in the league. 297 completions. He's only completing 63%. That's 20th. He's 6.3 yards per pass. That's 24th. And his QB rating is 86.4. That's 26th. So those are some subjects where I think Nix can get better, and I think he will get better. The turnover margin is very interesting in this game. You know, Green Bay's 4th in the NFL. They've taken it away 12 times. They've only turned it over 8 times. They're +4. And Matt LaFleur in his career, that is the #1 secret, I think, to his success. They've always taken care of the ball. They're +4 and 4th this year. Denver is 21st. They've only taken it away 10 times. They've given it away 13 times. They're -3. But both of these defense, you know, you look at all the stats. Wow, Green Bay's got a great defense. Whoa, Denver's got a great defense. Well, Green Bay took the ball away 31 times last year. This year, they've only taken it away 12. They got to fix that, man. Let's be honest. They don't beat the Bears last week without that Keyshawn Nixon pick. 12 turnovers compared to 31. Come on, Green Bay. Let's get the ball out of there. And Denver, 55 sacks. You would think that would result in a lot of turnovers. Well, they've only gotten 10 takeaways this year. They have forced 10 fumbles, but they've only recovered 3 of them. Come on, Denver. When a ball's on the ground, get in a fetal position and curl up around that ball. But the turnover margin favors Green Bay at this point. Let's take a look at the AFC. You know, the Denver Broncos are 11-2. They would love to win the AFC West title. Kansas City has won it 9 straight years. But they have the LA Chargers that are on their heels, man. And the Chargers already beat Denver, so that's a concern. The Broncos have a tough schedule coming up, starting with Green Bay. Then it's Jacksonville at home. Then they got to go play at Kansas City. And then they have the Chargers at home. So they have a tough slate ahead. When you look at the Chargers, they don't have a picnic schedule either. Hell, even having Jake Malisak as a fan of theirs is a problem. They got to play at Kansas City, at Dallas. Then they play a home game against Houston. Then they got to go on the road to play Denver. So a lot to be decided in the AFC West. That's why this game is big. Plus, Denver has a great chance to be the #1 seed in the NFL and have home field throughout. They also win the tiebreaker with the Patriots if they tie heading in to the postseason. So there's a lot at stake in this game. Green Bay right now is the #2 seed in the NFC, but they're still in a battle with the Chicago Bears for the North. They got to play the Chicago Bears on the road next week. Then they have a home game against Baltimore, followed by a road game in Minnesota. Let's close it out here with the kickers. The Green Bay Packers, Brandon McManus. Don't forget that name, Denver fans. He kicked for you guys for 9 years. He was a part of the 2015 Super Bowl team. He's kicking better. He was hurt earlier. Right now he's 15 for 21 on field goals, 26 for 27 on PATs. And for the Denver Broncos, Will Lutz, who was with Peyton in New Orleans, he has been clutch, man. 20 for 23 on field goals, 30 for 30 on PATs. And another name on special teams, the Broncos welcome the return of Marvin freaking Mims. You see that 48-yard punt return against the Raiders? Boom! Game over. The guy is dangerous. So if you're Green Bay, kick the ball near the sideline. Do not let this guy have any good looks. The injuries, keep an eye on a couple names. It's early in the week for Green Bay. Javon Bullard, their nickel corner, he didn't start the game last week. Nate Hobbs did. They pulled Hobbs and put Bullard in, but he's been limited with an ankle. Lucas Van Ness, first-round pick out of Iowa, defensive end. He's back on the practice field. He's missed the last 4 or 5 games. He could play. Keep an eye on that. And Dontavian Wicks, great game against Detroit on Thanksgiving. Only played 5 plays last week. He was limited on the practice field. And Josh Jacobs did not practice. They're probably resting him. But I got a good feeling he's going to be ready to roll. For Denver, DJ Jones, their starting nose tackle, did not play last week, but I am told he was a full participant. Pat Bryant, young wide receiver, 3rd-round pick out of Illinois, reminds us of a young Michael Thomas. He has played his ass off the last couple weeks. He's got a hamstring issue, did not practice on Wednesday, could be a problem. And Ben Powers, starting left guard, got hurt in week 5 with a bicep. He was on the field with the team in Las Vegas. I know what Powers looks like. I saw him hovering around on the sideline. I am told he could be back this week at left guard. And finally, Nate Adkins, tight end, limited on the field. Not quite sure of his availability. Woo! We got a big one here in Denver. Let's get into it. Okay, this Denver Bronco offense against this Denver defense. It'll be Sean Payton. He's got a big sideline sheet down there working against Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator of the Packers. Let's take a look at the numbers for this Denver offense. 14th in scoring, 10th in total, 14th in running it, and 13th in throwing it. They have balance and they have production. The one thing about Sean Payton's offense I've always loved is he uses all 5 eligible receivers. Backs, tight ends, receivers, they're all going to catch the ball. He uses all 5 eligibles all the time. I used to go down and watch the Saints practice when Drew Brees was the quarterback, and in his group install period, Drew Brees would throw the ball to the primary receiver, and as soon as it left his hand, he would go through the progression. Number 2, number 3, number 4, and he would make sure he was communicating. Great, nice spot. They were always meticulous and very exact with the progression and the utilization of all their eligible receivers. They love getting completion. They don't give a shit if it's a 3-yard gain, a 13-yard gain. They get excited about completions. And when guys catch the ball, make something happen. They make a lot of yardage after the catch, 132 a game. So there's a real philosophy here, high percentage of completions. Do something with the ball. When you get it, everybody's unselfish because everybody's a part of it. This is a ball control offense. They don't make a lot of big plays, at least they haven't in recent weeks. I watched them play the Raiders, and I was just shocked at the length of these drives. I mean, one drive is 14 plays, 81 yards. Another drive is 14 plays, 91 yards. Another drive is 19 plays and 90 yards. And the drive is 8 minutes and 54 seconds, 9 minutes and 13 seconds, 10 minutes and 17 seconds. Hell, if you're on the Raiders, you never get the ball. So maybe the Raiders' offense isn't very bad at all. Maybe they just didn't get the damn ball. But Bo Nix runs a quarterback draw, finishes one for a touchdown. R.J. Harvey on a duo scheme gets a touchdown. They finish it with a touchdown. And Will Lutz hits a 23-yard field goal. Marvin Mims returns a punt. There's your 24 points. But the game is over, man. They have 39 minutes of time of possession. And if they can do that against Green Bay, keep LaFleur and Love on the sideline, they're going to win another ugly game. And some of the people like me in the media are going to be upset and skeptical. But Sean is my friend, and I admire his body of work, man. And coming off the Raider game, 7 for 12 on third down, 27 first downs, almost 40 minutes of clock. How the hell can you complain? It is a quick passing game. I mean, if you study it carefully, 333 of these passes Bo Nix has thrown have been under 10 yards. Now, Al Davis might not be happy because he likes the ball pushed down the field. But like I said, they rely on high percentage completions, yardage after the catch. The longest play they had against the Raiders was 18 yards. So it's not like they're getting big chunks. They're more than happy if you're going to play zone coverage like the Raiders did 93% of the time. Green Bay's going to play a lot of zone coverage. I expect Sean Payton to take his Ginsu knife out and just slice you up with completions and yardage after the catch. You know, when you look for explosive plays, sometimes it can work against you. I look carefully at the amount of times Bo Nix has held the ball for more than 2.5 seconds. There are 15 touchdown passes, but there's also 8 interceptions, and that's where some of the sacks show up. The longer you hold the ball to let these routes develop, the longer you let Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary get after your ass. So there is some very careful thinking going on to when they take these shots. What's very unique about Denver's passing game this year is how they use the backs. Now, Sean has always done this in New Orleans with Reggie Bush, Darren Sproles. They've always had great receivers coming out of the backfield. Reggie Bush, Alvin Kamara. That freaking Peyton got me fired, man. But they're doing it again in Denver. They lead the NFL in running back pass usage. 94 attempts to the running backs. Hell's bells, 73 complete passes to the running back for almost 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Why do you think they drafted R.J. Harvey? He can do the things that Sproles and Bush and Kamara and all these great backs in New Orleans did. So they will test Quay Walker, Edger, and Cooper and the underneath pass defense of the Packers. Sean Payton uses a ton of personnel groupings. I mean, I'm watching them play against the Raiders, and you see 22 personnel, 2 backs, 2 tight ends. 21 personnel, 2 backs and 1 tight end. They're playing 13 and 12 personnel, 11 personnel. And they're using an extra offensive lineman at tight end, a jumbo package. That's why his board is this long and this high. You'll see him with his glasses now because the print is getting smaller and smaller to fit all these plays on his sheet. Ball distribution's great. 11 different receivers against the Raiders. Their running game now has changed. Since they lost J.K. Dobbins, who was 5th in the NFL, they have become a 3 halfback attack. I loved it against the Raiders. They used their rookie R.J. Harvey as the lead dog. He had 17 carries, 75 yards. He caught 6 passes. But I also saw Jaleel McLaughlin back in there, number 38. I also saw number 28, Tyler Bidet, in there out of Missouri. So they used 3 different backs against the Raiders, and I think they will moving forward. I mean, think about it. You lose J.K. Dobbins. He's one badass at the top of the league in rushing, man. It's Thursday night football. It looks like he's out for the year. So all of a sudden, you call Jaleel McLaughlin in your office and say, you better grow up fast, kid, because you're the guy. Not only running the ball, but protecting the ball, picking up blitzes, handling the audibles. And now, Mr. Harvey, after 17 carries, 6 catches, how do you feel on Monday and Tuesday? Are you ready to go again? How about against the Green Bay Packers in bad weather with all the money on the table against a real physical team? That'll be really cool to see how he handles it. But I was happy to see the run game finally get back on track against the Raiders. They went over 100 yards for the first time since Week 9, and they're going to need this running game heading down the stretch. Let's take a look at the Packers defense. We've already said several times that Jeff Hafley should be a head coaching candidate. He's done a hell of a job. His defense is top ranked just about every category. They're 6th in scoring, 5th in total, 9th against the run, 7th against the pass. But they have had some problems, I think, the last 2 weeks against the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving and against those Chicago Bears. What you appreciate about Green Bay the most is, man, these guys can really run. They got excellent team speed, and they play with tremendous effort. And that is a sign of coaching. That's a sign of accountability from these players. They bust their ass. If that ball's thrown to that sideline, you'll see a bunch of green jerseys hauling ass over there, man. It's important to them. They have football character, and the Packers tackle as well as any defense in the league. There are statistics that measure missed tackles. Green Bay doesn't have a lot of them. They're very good. Physical, fast, high effort, tackling badasses. You know, I already said Denver lives and dies with yards after the catch. Quick passes, yards after the catch. Well, guess who the top team in the league is limiting yards after the catch? It's the Green Bay Packers, under 90 yards a game. You got guys like Edger and Cooper, Quay Walker, Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams. They just limit you, man. They really do. And their corners tackle. Keyshawn Nixon, he's a badass. They like to tackle, and they like to limit yards after the catch. One of the things that's really interesting is this Packer defense is way better statistically in Lambeau Field than they are on the road. Take a look at this, Jake. They only give up 14.6 points a game at home. But on the road, they give up 24.2 points per game. And at home, they give up 252 yards a game. And on the road, they give up 328. So they haven't traveled defensively quite as well. Maybe the pass rush gets off a lot better at home in the noise than they do on the road. Biggest concern I have is looking at their third down defense the last 2 weeks. Detroit and Chicago, 16 for 29. That's almost 56%. That ain't going to cut it against Sean Payton and these Broncos. got to get off the field on third down, or Sean Payton and Bo Nix will keep the ball forever. 9-yard drives, 9-yard drives, right down the field, man. Got to get off the field on third down. The Packers force you to be patient. They're very sound on the back end. Evan Williams, Xavier McKinney, these two safeties, they very rarely screw the game up. And they've only given up 27 passing plays of 20 yards or more. So they make you go the long, hard way. The run defense has been taxed with the loss of defensive tackle Devontae Wyatt. Remember, he went down against the Lions on Thanksgiving. He's out for the year. They already traded Kenny Clark, another defensive tackle, to Dallas, and another defensive tackle, Slayton, he signed with the Bengals in the offseason. So down the stretch, they're going to have to get a lot out of these young defensive tackles, especially against the run. And they got to get some inside pass rush. You know, in the first 7 games, Green Bay only gave up 100 yards or more one time. 1 out of 7. But in the last 6 games, they're giving up 118 or more. So they've given up some big runs. And last week against Chicago, you saw the Bears come to Lambeau and run the ball 27 times for 110 yards. And you could see the Packer defense wearing down at the end of that game. I mean, Swift had back-to-back 9-yard runs. Monangai comes in back-to-back 7-yard runs. They were creasing Green Bay, and they were punishing people after contact. So it's a concern. They got to play better against Denver to get some at-bats for this pass rush. You know, Bo Nix has had 12 balls batted down. That's like 3rd in the league. So it's really important for Parsons, Gary, the inside rushers, get your hands up. Deflect the pass. Perhaps it could result in an interception. The other thing that Green Bay leans on 3rd down because of their lack of inside pass rushers is they're using this NASCAR package. Ask me what NASCAR is, Clay.
What's NASCAR?
NASCAR, think of speed. So they take out one of their big defensive tackles and they put Carl Brooks. He's the only D tackle in the game. He rushes over the center. And you'll see Rashawn Gary coming off one side. You'll also see number 55, Kingsley Enigbari. He'll be coming off the other side. And guess who's inside? It's Micah Parsons. He's replacing one of the inside rushers. So they're going to do everything they can to find that inside rush. They might even use a NASCAR package, which puts 3 defensive ends together on the field. Let's take a look at the matchups. The offensive line for the Denver Broncos, they are led by Garrett Bowles. You know, Garrett Bowles has never been all-pro. He's got to be all-pro this year. What he's putting on tape is extraordinary. Athletic, his ability to recover. They rarely help him. He wins in one-on-one protection. I can't wait to see Bowles against Micah Parsons, against Rashawn Gary. At guard, they've used 3 different left guards in Denver. Pert got hurt. Ben Powers got hurt. It's been Alex Palczewski the last 7 weeks. But as I said earlier, Powers is back practicing. So if he does return, the Broncos are at full strength. And if you look at Pro Football Focus, who do you think they rank as the #1 offensive line in football? The Denver Broncos. So Bowles, Palczewski, perhaps Powers could return and strengthen them. They got Wattenberg at center, Quinn Miners, team captain, number 77 at right guard. If you could hire one guy to be your bodyguard, it would be Quinn Miners. He is in a fist fight on every play, physical, finisher. He is the heart and soul of this team. And at right tackle, it's Mike McGlinchey. You know, McGlinchey gets in trouble sometimes. He's given up over 30 pressures, but he will finish you, man. And Bo Nix's ability to move around in the pocket really helps this offensive line. Plus, they throw a lot of quick passes. Let's not forget that. The defensive line, obviously, for Green Bay, they're led by the great Micah Parsons. He's Ware's #1, and Parsons lines up everywhere. He lines up on his right or the left side of the offensive line 58% of the time. 44% of the time, he lines up on the left. Hell, sometimes he lines up over the guard or over the center. I've even seen a few snaps where he lines up at linebacker. He's walking around like, which candy bar do I want to take a bite out of, Clay? The guy moves around a lot. But given the success of Garrett Bowles at left tackle, perhaps he wants to come over and try McGlinchey or go after the 3rd string guard, Alex Palczewski. You see how it works. The other defensive end is a guy I like. His name is Rashawn Gary, number 52. He's got 7.5 sacks. He's a good run setter on the edge, but he hasn't had a sack in the last 6 weeks. Come on, Rashawn Gary. They're going to need you to apply the heat and chase down Bo Nix in this altitude. They have a couple sub-rushers. We've already talked about Enigbari, number 55. He had a big sack last week against the Bears on a stunt. This guy's a very good rusher. He can really bend and turn the corner at the top. And they could sure use Lucas Van Ness to return to the lineup. He's been out, for about 5 weeks with a bad foot. But this former first rounder would give Green Bay 4 defensive ends, and they're going to need them all to chase down Bo Nix. This guy runs all the time. Where Green Bay's got to really pick it up is inside. Carl Brooks, he returned, number 94 last week. He was out the previous week with an injury. He was up and down in his play. Not much pass rush. I thought they all played high in the running game. They also got 48 snaps out of Colby Wooden. He's got to play better. I thought he wore down at the end of the game. And they have some young guys in here that I don't know a lot about. Warren Brinson, the rookie out of Georgia, number 91, more of a pass rusher than a run defender. And they also have a young guy, number 97, Jordan Riley. So when you look at Riley and you look at Brinson, number 91, they got to play a lot better. They also got Nazir Stackhouse from Georgia who didn't play last week. But it's going to come down to these young guys solidifying themselves against the run and helping this defense get to 3rd and long. The running game of the Denver Broncos, they have a lot of different runs, but they love to run the duo. 2 double teams, let the back press it and run behind the push or bounce it. But they use R.J. Harvey as their lead back. Already said it. Last week he carried it 17 times. I love Harvey because he can catch the ball and come out of the backfield and do a lot. He ran a choice takeoff for a touchdown against Houston, helped them win that game. You know this guy's got 9 touchdowns, Jake? 5 rushing touchdowns, 4 receiving touchdowns, 9 touchdowns as a rookie. How many rookie backs have done that since 1990? How many do you think, Clay? Well, hell, not many. Saquon Barkley, Kamara, David Johnson, Matt Forte, Edgerrin James. That's it. 5+ rushing touchdowns, 4+ receiving touchdowns. Not bad for a rookie out of Central Florida. But good luck, RJ, because the Packers do love to defend a run, and they got Quay Walker back, one of their leading tacklers. Walker missed the previous 2 games with a shoulder stinger. He returned against the Bears, and I just feel his presence, man. He wears number 7. He played all 68 plays on defense. He's got 93 tackles, and a lot of them are right up in the hole. And a lot of them are second effort plays on the perimeter. This is a hell of a middle linebacker in their base defense, and he's very comfortable in space in their sub package, and he can wear your ass out as a blitzer. So the young halfback from Central Florida, R.J. Harvey, keep your eyes on number 7. He will blitz. The other linebacker, I call on the edge of darkness every week, Edgerrin Cooper. He leads the Packers in tackles, 96 tackles. He had 10 tackles last week against the Bears. He's forced 2 fumbles. Hard guy to deal with if you got the ball, man. This guy can really recover fast, and he's been good against the pass. I love Cooper, Quay Walker. And if they do play their base defense, Isaiah McDuffie, number 58, hell of a player. He had to start the previous 2 weeks and played great while Quay Walker was out. But they have 3 very good, instinctive, productive linebackers that can defend a run or the pass. The matchups on the outside are interesting. We've already said Denver has 2 receivers with 50 catches plus, 500 yards plus, and 5 touchdowns, and they're led by Cortland Sutton, number 14. He can be a big X receiver on the backside of trips. He has the quickness to go in the slot, kind of like Marcus Colston did for the Saints when Sean Payton was the head coach earlier. But Colston's a great player, leader of the team, playing extremely well. The other guy's Troy Franklin, number 11. Quietly, 51 catches, 541 yards, and 5 scores. 11 Franklin, 14 Sutton are very good. But Pat Bryant, the rookie 3rd-round pick from Illinois, in the last 2 weeks has played more snaps than Troy Franklin. But remember, Bryant hurt that hamstring, not quite sure of his availability. Look into that. Bryant has 12 catches, 156 yards in the last 3 games. So if that hamstring is a problem, that could elevate somebody else's snaps. One of the receivers I want to see get going is Marvin Mims. Do you guys remember last year in the playoffs against Cincinnati? Mims went nuts. He missed some time with a concussion. He's obviously healthy based on that 48-yard punt return against the Raiders. So I look for Mims on some jet sweeps, some gadget-type plays. They're going to need to somehow get his explosiveness back in this offense. They even had Lil Jordan Humphrey back making plays last week, number 17. He's bounced around the league a little bit, but Sean Payton has always loved Humphrey and is comfortable playing him. So if Pat Bryant is out of this game, I would expect to see a little bit more Mims, a little bit more Humphrey. But the bottom line is, whoever lines up on the right is going to see Keyshawn Nixon, the ex-Raider. You know, he's become the #1 corner of the Green Bay Packers. Good for him. He is one tough dude, man. He has 16 PBUs. And last week, he won the game with that interception. And I swear, he's over here covering DJ Moore. And DJ Moore ran a slide route across the formation. Keyshawn Nixon is running across the formation to cover Moore. And then he realizes Cole Kmet is wide open. They've blown the coverage. You talk about covering your ass. Not only does he go over there and try to defend the play, he makes the play of his career. What a job he has done. And 16 PBUs, the interception. He does have 2 penalties last week. He will piss you off on occasion with some of his aggressiveness. Keyshawn, come on. Use your good common sense, man. But this is a great competitor, a hell of a tackler, and I'm proud of him. The other corner over here on the left, 99% of the time when you're looking at the left side of the defense, you're going to see number 24, Carrington Valentine. These 2 corners don't switch sides. If you want to throw right, you're throwing it to Keyshawn Nixon. You want to throw left, you're working against Valentine. Valentine got a little soft, I think, in the 2-minute drill, gave up a big dig to the Bears. But other than that, he has been solid, and he's been reliable, and that's what the Packers need. The nickel corner, they're led by Javon Bullard, and Bullard has had an ankle problem. So they took Hobbs, Nate Hobbs, who was a very expensive free agent acquisition from the Raiders. Nate Hobbs had to start the game last week because Bullard had a bad ankle. But I think it was like the 12th play. You see Burden, the receiver for the Bears, run a shallow cross. I don't know what Hobbs is doing. He jumped outside. There was a pick in a man-to-man situation. He gave up a 12-yard gain and a first down, pulled him out of the game, put Bullard back in, and that's how they finished. I don't know what Hobbs is doing. Is he going to compete with Valentine? Is he going to compete with Bullard? He's got to compete and get on the field. He's a really good player. And finally, the tight end of the Denver Broncos. They brought in Evan Ingram to be a pass-receiving tight end. He's 3rd on the team right now with 40 catches, 347 yards. But you got to really look hard to find him. He's only played over 30 plays in a game a couple times. They don't use him very much in the running game or in pass protection. It's almost like he's a wide receiver. So I think they're developing some tendencies with Ingram on the field. When he's off the field, run it. When he's on the field, throw it. But here's a guy that had 114 catches for the Jaguars in 2023. 9 straight years to start his career. He's had 40 catches or more. There's no doubt that he has very good receiving skills, but he is a bit one-dimensional. They use Adam Troutman from Dayton, number 82, as a inline blocker, pass protector, and you're even seeing Mercedes freaking Lewis. He's almost my age now. Number 89, he comes in some heavy artillery packages. And you'll see number 73, Frank Crum. He comes running out there. He's from Wyoming, man. This guy comes in to give him a little girth and pass protection assistance. So they will have a jumbo package as well. And the 2 safeties for the Packers, I love McKinney, and Evan Williams in his 2nd year has had a Pro Bowl caliber season. 75 tackles, 3 interceptions. They do a great job of communicating, and their disguise package is excellent. Remember, this secondary has only given up 9.3 yards per completion. That's number 1 in the NFL. And that's bad news for Denver because they're not a big play pass offense. Hell, they only average 9.9 per catch as a team. So I give Green Bay a distinct advantage because of their secondary, but with Sean Payton calling the plays and Bo Nix running around creating with his feet, you never know. Okay, this Packers offense, Coach Matt LaFleur will call the plays against Vance Joseph of the Denver Broncos, who's done a hell of a job calling the defense. I think Vance Joseph is going to be on a lot of people's list to become head coach. But when you look at Green Bay under Matt LaFleur, it's a balanced offense. It's almost like 50-50. Jacobs or play action pass, it's a very good mixture of run and pass, movement of the pocket, and it's very creative. What I admire the most about Green Bay's offense is they have reinvented themselves since the injury to Tucker Kraft. Some receivers have gotten healthy and returned, but they're using jumbo packages quite a bit. You see Darian Kinnard, number 70, come in there at tight end. He ain't no Tucker Kraft in the passing game. They're going to run the ball. They've also inserted Anthony Belton at right guard. This guy's mammoth, man. He's a second-round pick out of NC State. So you're bringing in a big tight end in Kinnard, and you're bringing in a big offensive guard in Belton. And guess what? Josh Jacobs' numbers have increased. It feels like Love has gotten under the center more to get the ball deeper to Jacobs where he can read his cuts. I mean, Jacobs had 83 yards against Detroit, 86 yards against Chicago. I feel like he is about to explode for 100. You know, in the first 8 games, a lot of shotgun operation. Jacobs averaged 3.6 yards a carry. But in the last 5 games, he's up to 4.5 yards per carry, and he is really moving the pile on impact, man. This guy runs hard. The other thing that they've done in the last 5 games without Tucker Kraft is they have really reinvented Christian Watson at wide receiver. I mean, number 9, Watson has 452 yards, 5 touchdowns, and an 18.1 yard average since he's returned in that Pittsburgh Steelers game. I also saw Jayden Reed back last week. Jayden Reed wears number 11. He led the Packers in receiving in 2023-2024. So without Kraft, you're seeing a different kind of running game under the center, bigger blocking tight ends, power right guard, and you're seeing an explosive down the field passing game headed toward Christian Watson. Where Love and LaFleur really excel is their game planning and preparation. And they have given Jordan Love flexibility at the line of scrimmage to audible. I already diagrammed 2 touchdowns that he threw last week against the Bears. If you blitz and play man-to-man, Love is going to see it and shred you because of their meticulous preparation. The problem with Denver is they're going to blitz, but you don't know what the coverage is. They might play 2 deep palms coverage. They might play 3 deep, 3 under. They might play a trap coverage on one side. The next time it's 0. No help anywhere. It's all out blitz. They mix these coverages up. They disguise the coverages, and the pass rush gets on you fast. So it's a different type of challenge than it was last week against the Bears. Plus, it's loud as hell out there, and you can barely hear. Very much a challenge. You know, I look at quarterback ratings against the blitz, 5 rushers or more. And Drake May has 125 QB rating. He's number 1. Stafford's right behind him at 124. Goff is at 122. And Jordan Love is 4th in the NFL at 119. So Denver's got to be careful when they blitz Jordan Love and what the coverage is and who's covering who, because he has a rifle, man, and he can get after your ass. I love watching Green Bay's offense because they push it. They push the ball down the field. 14% of Jordan Love's passes travel over 20 yards in the air, and he's got 22 of those are complete. Hell, a lot of teams barely push the ball over 20 yards in a month. Jordan Love is going to push the envelope. He's very aggressive and very accurate deep. Green Bay has the best 3rd down offense in football. A lot of that is because they don't commit foolish penalties. They don't lose yardage in the running game. They don't take sacks. They're in 3rd and manageable, and they have great play selection and a wide variety of receiving targets. They're excellent in the red zone. You know, when you look at Green Bay, Jordan Love has 16 touchdown passes and 1 pick. And they were 1 for 5 in the red zone against Carolina. That's the only reason they lost that game. But since going 1 for 5 against Carolina, they're 10 touchdowns in 11 trips in the red zone. So they know how to finish drives. They got pinpoint throwing from their quarterback. They have excellent play selection on a weekly basis to attack coverages that they see. And they have a hell of a runner down there inside the 5. Jacobs, 12 rushing touchdowns. I mean, he's had 12 rushing touchdowns back-to-back seasons. 4 times now in his career he's had over 12. Another X-Raider. You know, Green Bay, they got some X-Raiders. I'm rooting for Green Bay this week, especially against Denver. I wouldn't be surprised if Matt LaFleur uses an up-tempo offense this week against this Bronco defense. If you watch the Broncos carefully on defense, they have a lot of great defensive backs, and they substitute. You'll see Barron come in certain situations. You'll even see Chris Abrams drain come in certain situations. You'll see McMillan run off the field. And they're doing a hell of a job in Denver. Nobody really knows this, probably, but they're keeping Nick Bonitto fresh. His play time is down this year, even though he's very productive. Jonathan Cooper on the other side, they're subbing him out of the game to keep him fresh. I saw Ellis, I saw Tillman in there on the edge quite a bit. And as good as Zach Allen is, perhaps my favorite defensive lineman, he's down 16% in his usage. Yeah, he's got all these batted balls and sacks and hits on the quarterback. Bottom line is, Denver subs a lot on defense. So if I'm Matt LaFleur, I might jump the ball and make these guys keep playing. Try to wear them out a little bit. Knock on a grease board if you're with me. This Denver Bronco defense, man, they are fun to watch. And they're very aggressive, and they are tough to deal with when they're playing at home. This pass rush, the blitzes that they use, good God. They've got 7 different defenders with 3 or more sacks. Bonitto, Cooper, and Allen, and JFM, Jonathan Franklin Myers, they get most of the attention, and rightfully so. But they got 4 sacks from this little nickel corner, McMillan. He'll knock your ass off. Watch out for Hufanga. Good God, Justin Stranata, backup linebackers, got 4 sacks. So they'll blitz from all 3 levels of the defense. And if you don't know who to block, if you don't know how to block, you'll get your ass kicked. And they're very capable and good at doing that. When you say you're the best in the NFL, number 1 in yards per play, 4.5. Number 1 against the run, just 3.7 yards per carry. And number 1 against the pass, just 6.1 yards per pass. That's saying a lot. You're good at everything. They have an excellent secondary. Patrick Surtain, the defensive MVP, is back and healthy. That's a problem for offenses because he can match up with your best receiver. He might take your number 2 receiver, and now they can double your number 1 receiver. They can play zone coverage. Surtain can do whatever he wants. And this draft pick, Barron, this kid from Texas, he wears number 23. What the hell is he? A safety? A nickel? A corner? He's fast. His role is starting to come into fruition. He's starting to define this role as a Denver Bronco impact player. I love it. And Hufanga, number 9. This guy, he's brought that physical presence that Steve Atwater and Dennis Smith used to bring this Denver Bronco defense. I love it. And don't ever shy away from Riley Moss. Even though he's given up some touchdowns, he's a pain in the ass, a down-to-down competitor. And they can play a lot of different coverages. Man, they can roll weak and roll strong. They can play split safety coverages, all kind of combination coverages. They can define their game plan on a weekly basis because of the talent and versatility that they have. Their defensive line, they're highly decorated. Cooper, Bonitto, Allen, John Franklin Myers, Nick Roach. They have a lot of really good players, but they have depth. This Uwazurike, number 96, he comes into the game, and I'm like, is that Zach Allen? There's not a drop-off. The guy's a hell of a football player. DJ Jones, their starting nose tackle, goes down. Guess who makes an impact sack last week? That's Malcolm Roach, number 97. So not only do they have talent, they have depth, they have multiple fronts, multiple blitzes, and multiple line stunts. So it's really hard to deal with. But when you watch these guys get off the ball, it's impressive. They're in their stances and they're keying the ball. And as soon as that ball is snapped, bam, they are off. I would get down in my stance, but I just had a hip replaced, you see. So my doctors would be upset with me. They get off the ball like Sap used to, man. It's freaking awesome. So I say the secondary's deep, the D-line is deep, but the strength of their team might be their linebackers. They got one of my favorite guys ever, Alex Singleton. Here's a guy that has a cancerous procedure, man, 3 weeks ago. Cancerous procedure. You know what he does to cancer? Boom! He kicks its ass, man. He comes back the last 2 weeks. He's got 15 tackles. He's got 103 tackles. It's the 5th straight season. Alex Singleton has gone over 100. He diagnoses plays and he knocks the shit out of anything that moves. Singleton is the emotional leader of the Broncos. He is very well respected and admired by everybody. And they have the ex-San Francisco 49er, Dre Greenlaw. He's battled through adversity, man. He had that terrible injury in the Super Bowl a few years ago. He has found his niche in Denver. In 6 games, he's got 32 tackles, a pick, a forced fumble, a sack. He and Singleton are excellent. The only problem with playing these two guys is Justin Strnad has to sit on the bench. Strnad played great when Singleton was out, and he played great when Greenlaw was out. So at all 3 levels, it's like the Orange Crush, man. I'm glad I'm not coaching the Raiders, having to deal with these guys anymore. Scratch that from the record. I would love to compete against these guys. Last couple weeks, I haven't felt as much pressure as I have in previous weeks. Against the Commanders, against the Raiders, I don't know why, but they didn't blitz as much. Now, they don't have to blitz as much because they can generate pressure with a 4-man rush. But I think against Green Bay, who's a very good pass-protecting outfit, they're going to have to diagram some blitzes and try to get some one-on-ones for these rushers. And try to make Sean Ryan, who's only in his 4th game at center, having converted from right guard, make Sean Ryan make some calls with his rookie right guard, see if we can force a mistake or two in the noise. The Broncos are very sophisticated on defense. I know Joe Vitt, he's on their staff. Jim Leonard is on the staff, former Badger defensive coordinator. Vance Joseph. They have the ability to audible on defense, which is really cool. Watch this when the game starts. You might see Jordan Love audible at the line of scrimmage. Perhaps he sees a blitz and he fixes the protection. You'll see the Denver Broncos check out of the blitz and into a different coverage. And now they have the chalk last and they win. They can get you with their scheme that they call and the scheme that they audible to. They really do a great job playing chess, unlike most defenses. The pass rush here in Denver gets all the headlines. They could break the all-time sack record held by the Chicago Bears, who have 72. But it's their run defense that is the key ingredient to their pass rush. Why do I say that? Because they knock out the run and they give their pass rushers multiple at-bats. 2nd and 9, 3rd and 8, and they get a lot of opportunities to rush. Their run defense, DJ Jones and these linebackers, is outstanding. And Josh Jacobs, as good as he is, he's going to have his hands full. He will earn every yard he gets. Question I have is, if Matt LaFleur uses an up-tempo offense, does that really bother Denver? Or was Sean Payton resting some of these D linemen for the stretch run? I have a feeling after watching Denver practice, if it was up to Zach Allen, he'd never come off the field. If it was up to Cooper, he would never come off the field. Benito, these guys are highly conditioned badasses, so I think they're ready for anything. 30 snaps or 60 snaps. These guys are relentless. But I would not be surprised if Matt LaFleur tries to use an up-tempo scheme. Let's get into the matchups. The offensive line of the Packers, they have a shutdown right tackle in Zach Tom. He does a great job, number 50. Watch him yourself. See if he gets in any trouble on passing downs against these great rushers of the Broncos. Right guard is a rookie, Anthony Belton, and the center, Sean Ryan. He moved from right guard to center when Elton Jenkins got hurt. So there's not a lot of game experience between the center or the right guard. Keep an eye on that with these great rushers of the Broncos. Aaron Banks came over from San Francisco. He's the left guard. He's healthy now and playing well. And Rasheed Walker, I thought he struggled a little bit early in the season. He's played pretty good football the last month. They're solid up front, just a little inexperience here at center and right guard. And for Denver, it all starts inside to me with Zach Allen. Yes, his play time is down a little bit, but you talk about a factor grade, first-string Gruden grinder, 5 batted passes. He's hit the quarterback 34 times, man. First in the league. Myles Garrett has 32. So let's put that in perspective, man. This guy's an ass kicker. He wears number 99. Malcolm Roach and DJ Jones will split time at the other defensive tackle position, and they have some great edge rushers. Nick Bonito, who needs no introduction. He's got 12.5 sacks, 13.5 last year. He's the first Bronco to have back-to-back double-digit seasons since that doggone Von Miller did it 5 straight years. Boy, he pissed me off too. And over here, it's Jonathan Cooper. What I love about Cooper and Bonito is they get off the rock, man. In this noise, I'm telling you, they have got a couple sacks apiece because they get off so fast in this crowd noise. And the tackles, think about it. They got to key the ball a little bit. And here's the rusher out here. They got to make sure they're not getting a false start. So they got to do a great job offensively making sure that they get out and block these edge rushers in this noise. The Broncos also have a couple very good backup edge rushers. Tillman, you've seen Tillman, number 92. Cal PA, some small school, you think, who's Tillman? Shit, he has 2 interceptions. He can drop in the zone pressures. He can run after your quarterback. He's a hell of a player. And over here, Ellis, he's back, healthy, number 52. He's also a very good player. So they got depth inside and outside. The matchups on the outside are interesting. This guy, Christian Watson, this guy's had an unbelievable recovery from a major knee surgery. I mean, he hurt his knee against the Bears in the last game of the year last year. Well, against the Bears last week, he ripped them apart with 2 touchdowns. Christian Watson, if you're a young guy out there dealing with an injury, look into Watson. How did he do that? And over here on the other side, probably Romeo Doubs. Doubs played 42 snaps last week. Watson played 44. Those are the 2 guys that are going to line up the most in this Packer offense. And when they're on the outside, Pat Surtain, number 2, he's back, and he's just chomping at the bit to ruin a game. He doesn't have a lot of that MVP production yet. He's been targeted quite a bit, 80.5 QB rating, but just 57% of the passes are complete. He'll play on both sides. Surtain is number 2. Riley Moss is number 21. He has been targeted 84 times. Let me ask you, Clay, would you throw at Surtain or Moss if you had to throw against somebody? Moss. And, you know, everybody gets on Moss because he's given up some touchdowns. Holy shit, 84 targets, but only 53.6% completions. The guy really has a lot of confidence and mental toughness, and I love him. They're also using Chris Abrams' drain in a rotating basis. Why? Well, Chris Abrams' drain played really good when Surtain was out. He deserves to stay in the mix. So they've done a nice job formulating a role for him. The nickel corner is Jaquan McMillan. Don't like him, love him. 4 sacks, leads the NFL DBs. He'll come off the edge and rock you, man. And he's been targeted 58 times, more than any other nickel corner, not giving up a touchdown yet. And they'll also use Barron, their rookie first-round pick from Texas, if they want to use a big nickel package. They have a situational plan, it looks like, every week for Barron. He can play safety, he can play nickel, he can play dime linebacker if need be. I'm happy as a pig in slop to see Jaden Reed back for the Green Bay Packers. I love this kid. He is an excellent runner. They'll hand him the ball on jet sweeps. They'll motion him behind the quarterback. He's excellent in the slot. He can play outside. As I said earlier, he led the team in receiving 2 straight seasons. So Watson, Reed, and Romeo Doubs are the guys they really want to feature. Reed played 25 snaps last week. He came out good. He's going to get more snaps this week against the Broncos. And you should ask yourself this: where is Matthew Golden, number 0, the first-round pick from Texas? He hasn't done much this year. He's been hurt quite a bit, only played 5 snaps last week. And Dontavian Wicks, he looks like he's hurting. He only played 5 snaps as well. And who is Bo Melton? And how did he get in the game? I mean, Bo Melton, he wears number 16. He's a great special teams player. They put him in the slot last week, and he runs a 45-yard bomb touchdown against the Bears. Matt LaFleur, this Green Bay Packer organization, draft and develop. And no position has been drafted and developed more than a wide receiver position. I could say that because I coach receivers for the Packers. They drafted Sterling Sharp. Then it was Robert Brooks, Antonio Freeman, Greg Jennings. It goes on and on and on and on. Donald Driver. It goes on and on to Jordy Nelson. And now they have this cast of characters. They're all drafted, all developed, and they can all hurt your ass. The tight end position of the Green Bay Packers has totally changed since Tucker Kraft got hurt. Luke Musgrave, we've talked about him before, 2nd-round pick, only 8 catches for 74 yards. They picked their spots with Musgrave, 21 snaps last week. It's John Fitzpatrick. He wears number 86. He's more of a classic C-gap blocker, kind of like Adam Troutman of the Denver Broncos. He played 26 snaps. And they have Josh Wiley, number 81. They picked him up from the Titans. They put him on the practice squad. Hell, he played 29 snaps. And then you got the big Darian Kennard, extra offensive lineman. They're using 4 different tight ends with very descriptive roles for each guy. But this offense, it'll all start and end with Josh Jacobs. He is a beast, man. He wears number 8. He can run any run from the gun or underneath the center. He has great vision. He's a slasher. He takes care of the ball. He's got very good receiving skills, and he can pick up blitzes. And I can't wait to see Jacobs pick up a blitz when Dre Greenlaw comes after the quarterback. Woo, I got goosebumps, man. A couple of the great competitors going after each other in this game. And the safety play, we all know Hufanga, Brandon Jones. That's as good a combination as you will find. They're intimidating hitters in the middle of the field. They both have great range. They're eraser tacklers in one-on-one situations. The size, speed, athleticism that Hufanga brings to the table with his down-to-down tenacity, it is contagious. This game has everything you're looking for. Broncos and the Packers. Whew. Well, what a game. 2 heavyweight defenses, 2 great offensive coaches, but you got to pick somebody. Damn. I'm going with the Packers, man. 23-20. I just have a feeling Green Bay is going to rise to the top of the NFC. They're playing good.